Kendrick Lamar performs at the Super Bowl, and this is, on a surface level, one of the most mixed reactions I've ever seen. I think this is evident of the times that we live in with regards to how polarized we are. And this is what I mean. I saw totally opposite reactions to this performance. Some people were saying, best performance ever. This is amazing. Other people saying, didn't like the performance. No one knows his music, so on and so forth. Which the latter, I think, don't understand that we live in a time where there's no longer someone that is ubiquitous like a Michael Jackson was in the 80s. Someone that is everywhere all at once, right? And Kendrick Lamar is as close as you're going to get right now, outside of like a Beyonce or fill in the blank, to someone that is going to be everywhere at once. This is what I mean. When I was in New York a couple weeks ago with my son, it was a couple weeks ago, back in June, we took a Father's Day trip to New York, and we were walking through Times Square, and I remember seeing a group in New York, in Times Square, of, say, middle school kids, and they were rapping along to They Not Like Us, and they knew all the words, right? This is pretty ubiquitous in terms of as good as it's going to get in this context, in this time where the internet has created so many micro niches, right? But the folks on the other side are like, they don't like it. Folks on the with quote unquote within the culture love it. I'll share my thoughts towards the end, but I found this article pretty interesting. These are kind of some of the Easter eggs, if you will, right? He had Serena Williams, who used to have a situation with Drake, perform. That was hilarious. He had the Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam. Okay, I thought Samuel L. Jackson did a great part. I liked all the American imagery. I thought that was pretty cool. I know there's deeper meanings to all this stuff, which again we'll get into. The A minor chain, right? Kendrick performed adorned in the gleaming A chain that caught viewers' attention. Many perceived it as a subtle reference to A minor chant and Not Like Us, the scathing diss that accused Drake of being a certified pedophile. Others speculated that the A is an alternate logo for his company PG Lang. Who knows the significance of it? I loved DJ Mustard's appearance at the end of it, where he yells, Mustard. I thought that was fire. The Buick, the GNX Buick, a motif from his 2024 album that they performed. Some people were like, oh, this wasn't overproduced, so on and so forth. I genuinely thought that the lack of production was a breath of fresh air, personally. Now, Samuel L. Jackson, before Lamar kicked off his set, the first person we saw was none other than Samuel L. Jackson. The legendary actor was dressed as Uncle Sam in a star-spangled suit. He welcomed the audience, Great American Game, and served as the MC, helping move the set along. He calls the set too loud, too reckless, too ghetto, at one point showing a contentious relationship between Lamar and Uncle Sam as a figure of American idealism. Uncle Sam is also keeping score as the show goes on, deducting one life when Lamar is joined by his homeboys on stage. That was an interesting motif. The flag formation, Lamar took the stage surrounded by 60 dancers dressed in white and blue, lined up to look like the American flag. Lamar rapped the damn lyrics, standing in the middle, which kind of is a motif to the music video, right? Call back to the music video. For many viewers, the humble section of the performance and the dancer formation symbolized the state of America following the election of Trump. The Serena Williams thing was hilarious. A minor thing was hilarious. The way he teased out on whether or not he was going to perform They Not Like Us, I thought was pretty hilarious, right? Because I really didn't know if he was going to go there or not, if I'm honest with you guys. So obviously, if you guys haven't seen some of the pictures, this is him on the GNX car. I like the throwback to the early 2000s. I like all this stuff. This is like the stuff that we were into when I was in high school. Leather jackets, fitted hats with hats to the back. Like, this is definitely like a early 2000s aesthetic that I think is super hot now, and Kendrick is repping it, which is funny because like he's a couple years younger than me, but like this is what we were into when we were in high school, so it's coming full circle. What did I think about the performance? I find it interesting that so many people are jumping out the window with the Satanism, all that sort of stuff, so quickly. I think that's very fascinating to me. The relationship I've had with Kendrick has been a love and hate one. From one standpoint, I think that he's one of the most talented technical rappers, if not the most technical rapper I've ever heard. He makes great music. I like the GNX album. From another standpoint, the content, and I'm not a guy that could separate the art from the artist. I'm not a guy that can compartmentalize the content. The content I am not a fan of. I've already went over it. And anytime I say anything negative about Kendrick, the fanboys just completely lose their mind. So I'm not a fan of the content. I'm not a fan of the record where he's reincarnated and all, rapping from the perspective of Lucifer on the last verse. There is aspects to his content and his worldview that I find are extremely problematic. The Eckhart Tolle, so on and so forth. But as a performance, I'd say the beginning of it and the end of it was very sharp and was very good. I think the middle is where he lost me personally. The SZA songs, the slower stuff, the records that people didn't know. I feel like he had bigger records than that. I think he had records like from previous projects that would have been phenomenal. Like, I don't know why he didn't do the full All Right song, right? Like, how was that not a part of the set? Make sure of that, because I don't remember. I watched the performance about 1.5 times, and I'm shocked that he didn't perform that. Am I tripping? I might be tripping. Okay, let's see. Yeah, GNX teaser, Squabble Up, Humble. So, like, this entire beginning to me was fire. Humble, cool record. I like DNA. Not a big fan of Euphoria. Not a big fan of Man at the Garden. But then I think towards the end, when he brings out Mustard, I thought it was super strong. Let's go here. All the Same. Yeah, I'm not any of the SZA stuff I wasn't a fan of. And then They Not Like Us and TV Off, I thought that the strong ending was there. So beginning is strong, end is strong. He did all right with Snoop a few years ago. That may be why. Yeah, I think that's one of his strongest songs. And I think he had other records. So like all the SZA stuff just seemed like a favor to SZA. Like I didn't get it. Like those aren't massive records. It just felt like it slowed the set down. Here's the tough part. So from one standpoint, people have an issue with being able to detangle and acknowledge someone that's operating at an efficient level with their art from their worldview. I think as Christians, that is short-sighted. I think you should be able to say, Kendrick Lamar is very talented. Kendrick Lamar is very gifted. Kendrick Lamar is extremely proficient as a lyricist, and he makes good songs. Some of them are great songs. While at the same time saying, and I don't like his worldview and some of the stuff that creeps in from a theological standpoint. You should be able to differentiate the two. Now, here's something to think about. Just several years ago, what was the big hoopla of the Super Bowl? It was too raunchy. It was too sexualized. They had women up there twerking, so on and so forth. Kendrick gives you a set that's a family-friendly set. No profanity, no half-naked women, no one twerking, right? So from one standpoint, like that's a good thing, right? That's a W. From another standpoint, people aren't going to get the music. They're not going to get that this is no longer a ubiquitous artist that everyone knows the music for, right? That there are going to be people who are really, really, really into this and people that are really not into this, right? The American flag, I thought that was good. I think that's an interesting motif. I'm not sure how he's meaning it. So I personally, and you guys can point it out, I personally didn't see all of the satanic symbolism and all this sort of stuff. I didn't catch any of that. Now maybe it just went over my head. I don't know. I didn't see any of that. I saw someone that is a very talented lyricist be on the biggest stage in the world, and as someone that comes from a hip hop background, I was like, that's pretty cool. Again, I could also compartmentalize and say, I disagree with his worldview. I disagree with his wearing the crown of thorns. I disagree with him playing with Christian imagery. I disagree with the reincarnation record. But I think this was a decent set. I don't think it was like exceptional. Like, again, strong opening, strong closing. Samuel L. Jackson involved. The imagery was cool. The most exciting part of the set was, I have a massive update for you. I'm sure by this point, you've heard about the Blessed God Summit happening March 27th, 28th, 29th here in beautiful Carlsbad, California. But we've heard your requests. We've conceded to your demand. There are virtual tickets that are now available for the Blessed God Summit, so you could access it from anywhere in the world, as well as access to the replays. And for those of you guys that are looking for something extra, we're also offering a virtual ticket and an exclusive Bless God Summit merch bundle. There's some amazing art and some exclusive pieces done by our friend Josh Nadeau from Sword and Pencil that you have to check out. So join us online for the virtual event and experience some sessions from my favorite podcasters, pastors, and performers. We have a stacked lineup. I'm talking about Preston Perry, Dr. Sean McDowell, Inspiring Philosophy. What do you mean? Lila Rose, Alan Parr, and his wife Jen Parr. We even have Nate Sala from Wise Disciple, Gavin Ortland, David Wood, Avery from God Logic Apologetics. And on the pastoral side, we have my friend Daniel Golding, Pastor Ed Newton from CBC in San Antonio, and my personal pastor from Rhythm Church, Pastor Jeff Moores and his wife Erin Moores. You won't want to miss out from amazing performances from America's Got Talent winner Dustin Savella, Billboard charting hip-hop artist John Keith, and Miles Minnick. And we're still finalizing a few more speakers. So head over to blessgod.shop, get your virtual ticket now, and you can get yourself a bundle with some of the exclusive merch as well. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace. The teasing out the Drake thing. Right? Is he gonna diss Drake and call him a pedophile, A minor on the biggest stage, and is Drake gonna sue him and all that kind of stuff? Is it me, or at some point is Kendrick gonna move beyond this moment? Right? Like, I think at some point, it's a great story he's telling, but at some point, is he gonna move beyond this moment with Drake? I sure hope so. Right? I sure hope so. But I didn't expect him to do it. He did it anyway. As a I'm gonna do what I want, and it is what it is. Baited Drake into a beef. Drake lost the beef, and this is the ultimate like humiliating moment of the beef. You get called a pedophile on national television in front of the largest crowd. Pretty crazy stuff, if you ask me. Right? I hope he's done with this thing. I hope this beef goes away. I hope Drake comes back with some better music. And I hope, and I think Kendrick has moved away in terms of like the GNX record didn't have any Drake beefs on it. I think he will move on. To be honest, the person before who didn't want to let it die down was Drake. That's true. And the lawsuit thing is absolutely corny. Like, I think the lawsuit thing is just a bad look. I think it's just a bad look for Drake. But yeah, like this performance is a reflection of where we are in time. Do you guys understand that you're either gonna love this or you're gonna hate it? There's no in between. There's no in between. You're either going to think this is the greatest thing since sliced bread and, oh my gosh, Kendrick is a savior of the culture and this is amazing, or you're going to be like, I don't know a lot of these records. I thought some of them were very slow. It's a lot of technical rapping, which for a technical rapper, I like, but the average person's not going to know. And some of the stuff you're just not going to be a fan of. What's wrong with Ruslan don't like the SZA songs? People, yeah, I don't like this. I'm not a fan of SZA. Like, I know that's like blasphemous to say, but I think that I'm just not a big fan. I don't get it. I don't like. Again, I can't separate the art from the artist. Like, I can't separate someone that is in a position of influence that then like gets a BBL and kind of talks out of both sides of her mouth, and the example that sets for young women everywhere. And I know some of you guys are like, but she makes great art. And it's like, yeah, but what kind of example is that for young women that are looking up to her? That she's so insecure that she went and took fat out of her stomach, injected it into her butt, and like, we're cool with it. As a culture, we're cool with it. As a society, we're cool with it. You know, we had the whole conversation earlier about Ozempic. People were like, ugh, Ozempic. It's like this girl openly talks about getting a BBL. Instead of just going to the gym, it wasn't like she was fat. Like, she could have just went to the gym and did squats, and within 6 months probably would have had a much similar, more natural looking figure. And she did that, and we're celebrating that. And again, people have their issues, they have their drama, and she's kind of talked out of both sides of her mouth. From one standpoint, she regretted it. From another standpoint, she's not sorry that she's happy that she did it. So I think that's kind of a L in terms of like, this is the person that like is the epitome of art for young women. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. Like, I don't think that's healthy. I don't think it's healthy to celebrate that. You know, someone said, I love her, SZA's voice, but her as a person is such a contradiction. She got a cool voice. I don't think it's, I think the contradiction part is hard, you know. It just shows someone that is double-minded, that is unstable, you know. And I personally, like, as a dad, as a person that is intentional about what I let into my car and what I'm listening to, I wouldn't listen to her. And I don't think the songs with her are that phenomenal. Like, I know some of you, again, this is one of those things, like, when you're talking to people about art, it's so emotional. It's so emotional for people. And we're no longer talking logic and technicality. Like, it's so emotional for people that if you have a bent towards her, then anything I say that's even slightly critical, you're gonna think is blasphemy. You know? And if you don't have a bent towards her, then you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's kind of weird that, like, this is who we're celebrating, you know? Interesting. So she was in the shadow of her for some time. They both became big during the time. I don't know if Kendrick's a Hebrew Israelite anymore. I think Kendrick doesn't know what Kendrick is anymore. I think Kendrick's confused on what he is anymore. Which, again, for someone like me, that, like, I'm listening to the worldview, that to me is way more issue. The worldview that's being presented. The Drake beef and the songs, those are all downstream effects. So, like, was this the greatest performance ever? No. Was this the worst performance ever? No. This is what you would get from watching Kendrick Lamar, who is now on top of the world. He's one of the biggest artists out there. This is what you're going to get, right? And it's a great look for him. And I think it's okay for people to say, hey, like, I watched Kendrick come up from 2009. You know, Ignorance is Bliss, Kendrick, Section 80, Kendrick, to now him be on the biggest stage. Like, I'm not mad at people who are like, that's pretty dope. That's awesome, right? Congratulations. On the same standpoint, like, is this something that bad? I don't think the music is bad. Again, there was no one twerking. There was no strippers on stage. There was no provocative dancing. Like, what do you want from a Super Bowl halftime show? What do you want? You know, you want a worship set? I mean, that'd be fire. Like, I would love to see, I don't know. You know, but even if I start naming names of who I would love to see on there doing a worship set, everyone would have an issue with that. If I say, oh, it'd be dope to see Maverick City do a Super Bowl halftime show. Oh, Maverick City. Hey, man, it'd be cool to see Chandler Moore do Chandler Moore bad, right? It's like we can't even figure that out within the Christian world of what you would want to see. So what do you want? Like, what do you want from a halftime show? Taylor Swift? Like, she got booed. That was crazy. That was interesting. Taylor Swift got booed, and President Trump got a loud ovation. Very, very fascinating, right? So yeah, I think it's an interesting time we live in where the music is no longer ubiquitous. We no longer have the days of Michael Jackson, the days of one person that everyone knows their songs. I think those days are done. And this is a reflection of that. This is a reflection of that. Now, he had some moments when he yelled mustard, when he yelled A minor, like, people knew all those words. And by the way, outside of me not liking the records with SZA, he did what he was supposed to do. He went up there and he promoted the project that he had out. That's what he was supposed to do. He went out and he promoted the record he had out. That's what he was supposed to do. And that's smart on his part. Even the songs were slow and whatever. I think his breath control was a little lacking. As technical as it was, I think there were some parts that he could have been a little cleaner on, or left some of the overdub tracks on. But, you know, he powered through it. No backing tracks. And I think it was a cool set. I think it was a cool moment for Kendrick fans. I think it was a cool moment. I'm not mad at it. Again, I'm not seeing all of the Illuminati ritual initiation stuff. I didn't see that in yesterday's set. Not to say that there hasn't been stuff like that in the past. I didn't see that in yesterday's set. Now again, that's not an endorsement, and I'm not saying there's not problematic issues with his worldview, but it is a cool moment. You know, props to him, man. Hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to comment below and subscribe and all that good stuff. And check out this other video that YouTube seems to be recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.